It looks like we're gonna find out why Thor was crying because it's being reported that we are officially getting a Thor 5 in the MCU. And it's funny because about a week ago, it was why is Thor dying back to why is Thor crying. But on top of that, we got little hints and teases of what the story could be about, as well as my own personal theories. So let's get into everything we know about Thor 5 in the MCU, because me and you know what we gotta do. We gotta talk about it. And man, you know what? Boom! You looking for this? Because according to extremely reliable industry insider Daniel RPK, he is reporting that Thor 5 is in the works at Marvel Studios. Which, I'm not gonna hold you, feels like the third or fourth time that they've reported that a Thor 5 is in the works. But nonetheless, I trust Daniel RPK. But there were a couple more interesting details provided. One of those pieces of news being that Taiko Waiti will officially not return to direct Thor 5. And I'm not gonna hold you, he went into the kitchen for Thor Love and Thunder and burned that bitch to the ground because that was horrible. But I do want to give him his flowers because he did help revitalize the Thor character, making it possible for there to be a Thor 5. And even though I'm not a big fan of the over-the-top silliness of both of these movies, with Thor Love and Thunder just veering off the fucking tracks, I'm not gonna sit here and act like he didn't cook up some special scenes in both of these movies. Even Thor Love and Thunder had Gore the God Butcher despite his lack of butchering gods. That whole scene in black and white, but nonetheless, you're out of there. Which brings me to some possibilities on who can be the new director and who I personally would want to be this new director, which I said in my last video on the whole Thor matter. And either one of these options is going to bring a much more serious tone to Thor, which I think is desperately needed. Specifically, I really hope they just capture the tone of Thor in Infinity War, because to me, that's the best interpretation of Thor in the MCU. It's not even close. Just the perfect balance of comedy and seriousness and aura forming. But option number one could be Sam Hargrave, who directed the Extraction movies that Chris Hemsworth stars in. And funny enough, he actually started off as Chris Evans' stunt double and was also